day of February, dear listeners, the first Friday of the month of February. And I'm glad to be with you on air today. And I'm talking about, dear listeners, something that is a bit sensitive, but it's happening in our homes and in our families. And I think we're encountering it every other day. And I just thought I should talk about it. I'm talking about reasons why men commit suicide. Reasons why men commit suicide. I'm talking about this because this past week, I think I've had 3 people in my office, clients who have lost their husbands. You know, and these are people's sons and brothers, and I'm thinking that maybe it's just good we have a brief conversation about it today and see what are some of the things that we can be able to do. So I'm talking about reasons why men commit suicide. And these are just a few that I've seen out of experience, and I'd like us just to, you know, just to look at them, you know, and look at our families, you know, and to the wives who are listening, the moms who are listening, the people who are listening. Just look at it from the angle that maybe there's something that can be done and we can be able to track these things early enough. Number one, dear listener, is that generally not having a confidant. Men are very fond of keeping secrets, and men love keeping secrets because very few men have confidence, you know. And the reason why men don't have confidence is because men always confide where they are safe. And for a man to classify a person as safe, there are a few things that that have to come into a play. So I'm saying that not having a confidant is a reason why. It's because that this man keeps the secret so close to his chest, will not tell anyone for so long, the point where they bubble under and he ends up taking his own life. Now, I want to go back a few steps just for the sake of clarity, and then I just crossed my mind. Why am I talking about reasons why men commit suicide? It's because statistically, dear listener, more men commit suicide than women. And that's why I'm saying that reasons why men commit suicide. It's not that I'm undermining or overlooking the fact that women do. I'm just saying statistically, more men do than women. But we can look at it from both angles. So if at all you're looking at it also, as much I'm saying it's about men, also I'm inviting also, you can look at it from, you know, from a neutral point of view. So say number one, not having a confidence, because men love keeping secrets. Number two, dear listener, is invincibility. I call it the curse of invincibility. This is that every man believes that he will live forever. One illusion that men have is that they're invincible. Men think that they're built to be strong, and that they're strong enough to get through anything by themselves, you know. And I've always said this very many times, that we like saying that African men don't cry, they sweat, you know, because they believe that they are strong enough. And in truth, they are not. And one of the things that pushes men to the brink of taking their own lives is because he overestimated his ability to carry the strain that is in his life. He overestimated his power or his ability to carry the weight that is carrying of life. Because most men, even though they are under pressure, they will not show they are under pressure. You know, they will look for other things to do, but they will not show that they're under pressure because they'll believe that they can handle it. So when everyone else is saying that things are like this, these guys will keep quiet. He'll continue waking up in the morning. He'll continue to go. He's at breaking point, but he will go. You know, he will keep on going. And in the process, he reaches to a point where he can't go anymore. But no one saw it because he acted and pretended that he was so strong. Because even he expected himself to be strong. I call it the curse of invincibility. That men think that they will live forever. Men overestimate how strong they are. That's a reason why, dear listener, men end up coming to a place where they break and they take their own lives. Number 3, dear listener, is the fear to face failure. The fear to face failure. Now, there's something I was talking about a few weeks ago at a forum, and I was saying that it is important for our sons, our husbands, to understand that it is okay to make a mistake. It is okay to fail, you know. As long as you're not tying yourself to a nuclear bomb, you know, it is okay. The problem is that the expectation to succeed is so high that this particular man looks and thinks that if I fail, I can't face the reality that I have failed. And he'd rather take his own life. And it's important to teach even our young children very early that don't shy away from the mistake. You make a mistake, let's work through it. Let's process through it, you know. One of the cases that I had this week was a gentleman who, you know, yeah, I mean, yes, he had made a mistake that looked a bit tactical, let me say that, because he had gone out of his marriage, and having gone out of his marriage, he got this lady pregnant, and now the lady began taking money from him and taking money from him, taking money from him. Then one day, she decided that she's going to tell the whole world about it, and the man could not face that reality. That is the truth that comes out after he has actually taken his own life. Because the expectation that was upon him from his wife, from the family, was a man who was known to be so perfect, so clean, had no fault. And finally a fault has come, and he couldn't take it now. When this lady said, I'm going to call your wife, because now he couldn't afford to sustain her. I'm going to tell your wife, I'm going to post things on Facebook, on Instagram, and everything. The man saw his world falling apart, and this was enough reason. I've seen people taking their own lives because they were given money to go buy land and they lost the money. And they'd rather not go face. And this comes also from the reality that at times we are living with people we are afraid of. At times the people who are afraid in their marriages, you live with someone you literally fear. And that is not a relationship if there's that much fear. But I'm saying number 3 reason why this happens is because, dear listener, the fear of failure. That I can't face the failure that I'm saying before. Number 4, dear listener, is smoke screening issues. And this is a mistake that very often, and I'm calling upon us to watch very carefully, is smoke screening issues. Men love smoke screening issues. What do I mean? A man will create a false crisis to avoid the real crisis. That's what I mean by smoke screening issues. He'll create a false crisis that you avoid the real crisis. And if you're in a marriage with a man, always be keen when he is trying to create a false issue, yet the real issue, you never talk about it. And every time you're going around circles. And every time you'd rather create a different fight. Rather create a different fight. Rather go a different direction. Yet in truth, there is a bigger problem in his life, but he can't say it. There's a man who actually survived taking his own life. When he came to my office and we were chatting, the reality of this man could not sire children. And he was under pressure because he couldn't sire children. And every time the wife was saying, let's go to an expert, let's go to what? He always fought about something else. He'd fight about the weather, fight about money, he always smoke screamed the real issue, which is that he felt that he wasn't man enough because he couldn't sire children. At the end of it all, he decided to try to take his own life. The goodness, thank God, that he didn't succeed. So be very keen when you see a man in smoke screening issues, always diverting the attention into something else. Number 5, dear listener, is undue pressure to become more than what he can. Undue pressure to become more than what he can. Overestimating the capacity of the man in your life. If you have a son, you have a husband, you have a father, what is the capacity that this man has? Don't overestimate the capacity of the man in your life. And men, don't also overestimate your own capacity to give what you cannot give. This undue pressure is one of the most key reasons. Because there's an expectation that is beyond this person's capacity. And you expect them to do things they cannot do. And they expect to do the things you think that they will do. Yet in truth, hakuna capacity. And they end up breaking. I always say, find out the capacity of the person you have married. What's the capacity of your son? Can really your son do that which you expect him to do? Can he meet your expectation in who you want him to become? Can your husband meet that expectation? Or are you overstretching this person? Secondly, are they overstretching themselves? You can slow down your spouse and tell them, listen, you're not Superman. There's only one Messiah, it is Jesus Christ. Slow down. You can't save the world. And at times these words help men to slow down, because at times when I figure that he has to stretch himself, and that leads to burnout. The next point, dear listener, is this. Is a cry for help that goes too far. And every so often, we have people crying for help, but no one listens. And I want you to listen to this very carefully. You will get anything else I say this morning. But this is where now we get to miss. And this is where we lose our sons, our husbands, our children. It's the cry for help that we didn't listen to. And this begins with small sentences. You find someone withdrawing haongei. I've always said people deal with stress and pain in 3 ways. 1, they meditate, or they motivate. You find that suddenly your spouse is drinking more than normal. You start attacking the alcohol. You start attacking his friends. Yet there is something else. That's a cry for help. This person is not drinking because of anything. That's a cry for help. You find someone is beginning to become very angry. It's a cry for help. You find someone has withdrawn. They are no longer talking. They are very quiet. They don't want to socialize. It's a cry for help, dear listener. You find that your partner or your son, whoever, is overworking now. You know, they don't want to, they're always working. They don't want to spend time doing it. They just want to work. Dear listener, it's a cry for help. More often than not, we miss these cries for help. And we begin telling someone, you don't want to spend time with me. You're always in the office. You don't want to spend time with me. And you're piling on the pressure. Yet in truth, the person is crying for help. And more often, statistically, you find that many people who have attempted to commit suicide, the ones who have survived violence, have always said this, that they have always regretted the moment they attempted it. So so you find that it's a cry for help. The person thought, if I do this, maybe someone will see. But it went a bit too far. And the last point, dear listener, is the lack of a real connection with God. So at the end of the day, God is the one who carries us. And we have to be willing to let God carry us, no matter who we are. All of us are children when it comes to God. And it's important to have a spiritual connection at the end of the day. A spiritual connection always gives you a responsible way out, dear listener. They are talking about reasons why men commit suicide, dear listener. You can talk to us about any question about marriage, about families. Stay tuned to 88.3 FM.